Here we go. Happy Thursday. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now live here on Chat Sports. Hope all of you out there are having a great day. And no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, as always, we appreciate you for making today's show a part of your day as we pass along all of the latest Philadelphia Eagles news and rumors. Regular season's going to be here before we know it, September 10th. Against the New England Patriots. New England is going to honor Tom Brady as he is officially retired. And Philadelphia, I think, is going to go up north of Foxborough and come through with the statement win. Plenty to discuss on the program today. And here's what we're going to talk about. Derek Barnett trade update. The other day, he did request a trade. There's an update on that front, especially from general manager Howie Roseman. We'll pass along that information. Going to do an Eagles roster breakdown. This is the first time that we're live since the initial 53 was set, and we're going to take a look at every single player on this squad. Also, 13 members of the practice squad have been signed to the taxi team, so we'll break that down too. And we'll get to all of the latest Eagles news and rumors, and we'll be taking your questions during our mailbag. So get those questions in right now. Use hashtag Eagles, better yet, Super Chat, to be a part of the show. We already have 72 people watching live. We just kick-started the stream, and let's get the comment section going now. Where are you watching from? Let us know in the chat. We'll start to give you some shout-outs here. We're coming to you from the Chat Sports Studios, but where are you? Producer Coop slinging the pill over to Trizzy Trace, and we're ready to chop it up with everybody here. Tim Perkins is in Delaware. We have Lamont in West Philly. Speaking of the New England Patriots, this ball a little bit deflated. Shout out to Tom Brady. Vineland, New Jersey from Clifton Day. Reed is back in the building, but your boy Chip is doing some other stuff here at Chat Sports. So it's the OG Trace here today. Ernesto, Tucson, Arizona. Reed is in Tampa, Connecticut from Kylie. Richmond, Virginia from Reggie Brown. Is that the Eagles' Reggie Brown from way back in the day? Number 86, Bucks County. Also in the building, Phoenix, Arizona from Daniel. Another Connecticut from Jarvin. Irvin from Alabama. That's Irvin Straight right there. North Philly from Ed Ramos. I used to live on 19th and Cecil B. Moore. Elijah, he's on 24 headed home. Elijah, we missed you last week during the preseason finale, and you missed what was one of the craziest Eagles live streams ever. We had Davis going back and forth between one of our OG loyal subscribers, but first-time super chatter, Mean Green, and he ended up sending in like $500 in super chats, and he said over 15 minutes, I'm going to match every super chat that comes in. It was nuts. A lot of people were here for that. Flipping the Bird 85, saying yo. Like Elijah, Flipping the Bird 85, one of our super chat MVPs. Reed knows all about Dream Green. My man was going in, and it was nuts. So it's good to see some real ones in the house here with Elijah, Flipping the Bird, Reed, Peter Thurman, Delco is in the house. That's fantastic to see as well. So as I mentioned off the rip, we'll pass along a Derek Barnett update. And earlier this week, him and his agent, Drew Rosenhaus, pretty much requested a trade from Philadelphia in the lead up to all teams in the NFL, trimming their rosters down to 53 players. And Howie Roseman most likely was going to look at trading away Derek Barnett if they got a quality offer back. They did not get that quality offer back. Jeff McLean even said that the Eagles have some plans for Barnett to get about a dozen snaps per game. They are so deep at defensive end, which is why Barnett wanted to go somewhere else to get some more playing time. Here's what Howie said the other day, and we'll go further on the Derek Barnett front here with our first segment when the official show starts. That's a position for us, which you see with the 53-man roster, it's a priority. So we're going to keep as many of those guys as we possibly can. Last year, we got in a little bit of a bind and had to give up a pick, had to sign guys in the middle of the year. He was talking about that Robert Quinn trade when Philadelphia surrendered that fourth-round pick. So I see why the Eagles held on to Derek Barnett. More thoughts on the former first-round pick coming up here in just a little while. But first, I'm calling all Eagles fans. Spam E If you love the Eagles, I want to see everybody watching right now spam E. Also, what's important for you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. 116 people watching live, only 28 likes. The more likes that we get, the more people who come in here, the better that the show will get and the crazier that the show can get. Peter Thurman, Frank, Lamont, Daniel, Charlie, Tim, Frank, Peter, Philly for life. Who else is spamming that E? Byron Nails, another one of our real ones, is in the house. 21st Century Natives, Earth, Daniel, Philly, Ernesto, Daniel. Calling all Eagles fans here. Spam that E if you're about that life. Also, it's the final day of August. Can you believe that? We're about to embark on month number 9 of 12 in 2023. It feels like just the other day we were celebrating the ball dropping on New Year's Eve. And now it's about to be September 1st. Trace and I were at the Stockyards, and now it's August 31st. But with that, we're having a sub battle with a couple of our NFC East counterparts. And this month alone, it's actually been the best record and the best month in the history of this channel, actually. And it's before the regular season games get underway. So I really do appreciate the support. Dallas Cowboys report, almost 3,000 subs this month. Eagles now 2,100. Giants now 1,700. Hit that subscribe button if you want daily updates on the Birds, and I promise you, you won't regret it. And you know us here at Chat Sports, we like to have a lot of fun. And sometimes we do some crazy things. My boy Mitchell Renz, who's the host of the Las Vegas Raiders Report, has been live since about 10 o'clock this morning, getting a Raiders tattoo on his leg. It's an entire leg sleeve. So if you want to go check that out at some point, obviously I prefer you do that after we sign off for our live show. You can go check it out here. He's live on the Las Vegas Raiders Report. I also have that link that we're going to put in the chat as well. Trace already did that. He's literally getting the Raiders logo and a sleeve of the Oakland Coliseum tatted on his leg right now. You can go check out that craziness over on the Las Vegas Raiders Report. If you're subscribed to us here on Eagles Now, though, I want you to type me down in the chat. We'll start to give you some shout-outs here. We're getting closer and closer to starting the official show, just allowing people to get that notification, pile in here, and in the meantime, we start to chop it up with everybody who's subscribed to the show. Daniel Flores is subscribed. Earth also showing love. Joseph Smith is a part of the Bird Gang here at Chat Sports. So too is Daniel, Peter, Frank, Charles, Ernesto, Charlie Birch, Andrew Nathan. I know he's been around for a while. Derek Walker, Frank Eastman. I've been subscribed for a while. We certainly appreciate that. Hien Yang typing me as well. It's great to see people typing me, supporting the show, and also watching from literally everywhere. We want to answer your questions today. And if you want to get in first, use the hashtag EaglesHorse Super Chat to literally ask us anything that you want. We'll get those questions included in our mailbag, but also, if you have a hot take that you want to pass along, you can do that as well. That's hashtag EaglesHorse Super Chat to ask us anything. And how about Lamont coming in, breaking the Super Chat cherry for our live stream today with a $10 Super Chat. Let's go, Birds. Let's go, Birds. Let's go, Birds. Let's go, Birds. Dennis Designs is here. Avante Maddox's biggest fan. And Byron Nails, he's been one of our commenter MVPs so far. So our Super Chat menu today, $5, beer cheers, and we ring the Liberty Bell. You send in 10, like Lamont just did. He's going on the lunch pail. $20, Trace will take some shots. $50 for a beer bong shotgun, and we just ordered a brand new Freedom Funnel because the old one went to DeAdrian Hawthorne. A lot of people remember that he was sending in a lot of Super Chats during free agency. And if anybody out there sends in a $100 Super Chat, you become a member of the Bird's Nest Hall of Fame. That is the elite crew here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. So with Lamont sending in that $10 Super Chat, we'll ring the bell for Lamont. He's certainly a real one, but he also gets a gold sticker to go on the lunch pail here. Lamont, we appreciate you, Brody. L squared. you're going on the lunch pail, my guy. So if you want to donate to the show, we certainly appreciate that. Last time we were live here, we had a false copyright claim for our watch party. Stream got shut down for absolutely no reason, and it ended up being that we didn't do anything wrong. We even called that here on the show. Then Super Chats went crazy toward the end of that live stream. It's Thirsty Thursday. Let's have a blast. The regular season is going to be here pretty much next week, right? About a week and a half away. Let's get the party going. And let me ask you this. Who wants to have a competition today?
Come on.
And who enjoys competition? If you want to have a competition today, I want you to type me in the chat.
Let's go.
Because we're down to have a Super Chat battle with our Giants channel, led by the fearless Marshall Green. On their live stream, $350 in Super Chats. Can we take down the G-Men and have the bragging rights inside the walls here at Chat Sports? Thanks to Lamont, we're already at 10. Can we get to 350? Brian, with the $2 donation, also chiming in with the little tip. Eagle fan from Philly here in South Carolina. Nice, man. I grew up in Westchester, Pennsylvania, so just outside of Philadelphia. Went to Temple University, got my start in broadcasting, moved out to Illinois, back to Pennsylvania, now down here in Dallas, which is where our national sports network is located. And for a guy growing up in the Philly area to cover the Eagles and the Sixers, it's an absolute dream come true, as well as the entire NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, college football. Got to do it all. Brian, you know what? I'm going to put you on the lunch pail, my guy, because I certainly appreciate that.
Way to go, Brian.
Brian, you get a B on one of our gold stickers. We're up to $12 in Super Chats, and the official show has not even started yet. How about it? But who's ready to start the official show? If that's the case, hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Peter Thurman with the $10 Super Chat. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! And how about Peter with the Real One shirt at Lincoln Financial Field?
Ripped out.
Peter, how about this? Anybody who sends in a Super Chat, fuck it. You're going on the lunch pail today. Anybody who sends in a Super Chat, you're going on the lunch pail
Chase,
today.
I might have to send in a Super Chat to get on the lunch pail.
Trace, if you do, you're going on the lunch
pail. Let's go!
Peter Thurman, you have a gold sticker as well. So if you're ready to start the show, let's make some noise here. Let's get some more people into the chat.
Come on.
Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video.
Chase, if we get to 75 likes in the next minute, Fly Eagles Fly.
Hey, I'm down.
We might have to sing it. Might have to sing it for the
75 likes in the next minute.
Come on.
Fly Eagles Fly. Go. I think that we can certainly get there.
I also just got word in my ear from junior producer Chip, and he just said he wants to do a beer bong if somebody sends in an $100 Super Chat.
Is that what he said?
He just said that to me. I don't know if he knows that, but he just said that to me.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Uh-oh. We got another one in.
Another
Marty 10? McFly, Eagles, fly.
Marty McFly. Fly, Eagles, fly. Appreciate your coverage. Most importantly, Marty, I appreciate you for watching the show. Marty, we're going to put an MM on a gold sticker today.
Let's go, Marty.
And you, too, are going on the lunch pail, which, by the way, will be sent to Dream Green because he was our Super Chat MVP. Another Super Chat is coming in. This time a 20, and it is a first time Super Chatter. Let's go, Birds. Fly, Eagles, fly.
Oh, my goodness.
Adrian Harris is a first time Super Chatter. Adrian Harris, we appreciate you. And how about Lion Fighter, one of the real ones here, a $10 Super Chat. He's a real one. He's a real John. And his name is LFX. Sup, my brothers. Go Birds right there. You love to see it. And we have an absolutely loaded show, which is coming your way. And I know that Trace, he's going to have to get those shots ripping because we had a couple of $20 Super Chats that came in.
Yo, Chase,
he's about to rip those shots.
Real quick, you got to see this update on the Super Chat battle. I mean, we're making progress. And for that, go Birds!
Go Birds!
What's
Giants
up?
now at 350. Eagles now at 82.
Come on, let's
Shout
catch
out
it.
Potion, by the way. He sent me a new song. Flippin' the bird. Flippin' the bird. Flippin' the bird. Flippin' the bird. A $50 Super Chat. Eagles repeat as division winners and another Super Bowl. Let's effing go. And with that, we got past 75 likes, so let's go. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. Fight, Eagles, fight. Score a touchdown, 1, 2, 3. Hit 'em low, hit 'em high, and watch our Eagles fly. Fly, Eagles, fly on the road to victory. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Chip, what's it take for a beer boot? What's it take for a beer boot today? Yeah. 50 for a beer boot.
A 50!
50 for a chipper beer boot.
For a boot.
Chip, 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 chip. Let's go.
Let's go, Chip.
Daniel Musco! A $10 super chat. Fly, Eagles, fly. I have a good feeling that we're going to beat New York Giants now today.
It's about to be a bloodbath.
Go. Best August in the history of Philadelphia Eagles now, all thanks to you, and we're ending it with an absolute banger.
Let's go.
$142 in super chats, and every name that comes in on the super chat docket, you're going on the lunch pail. So
I'm going to get Chip to bring
we have Daniel, we have Flippin' the Bird, we have LFX. Who else? Adrian Harris.
Legends. If you want to get on the lunch pail, sit at the lunch table with us. $10 to get in at our lunch table.
Donald.
We're eating Cowboys. We're not eating Cowboys.
Marty McFly. And we're all caught up right there.
We're eating giant burgers.
Every super chat that comes in, you're going on the lunch pail. This is what I want to do right now. We got past 75 likes, and we sang the Fly, Eagles, Fly song. Can we get to 100 likes before we start the show?
Yeah.
We're 15 likes away.
We got to get there. We got to get there.
15 likes away from 100 likes. Let's get there. And the more people who come in, the better that the show will be. Ooh. And we also have some fantastic content in store for all of you today as well. It's my Friday. I'm going to Charlotte tomorrow with a couple of homies here at Chat Sports. We're going to watch UNC South Carolina, and we're going to watch Spencer Rattler against Drake May, two of the top quarterbacks in college football. I cannot wait for it, but it's also Thirsty Thursday, and it's my Friday. So let's go. Flipping the Bird 85 with the $50 donation. Let's get it.
Chug, 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 chug. Brian!
Woo! These super chat tools are awesome.
Dude, they are great.
Brian with another 5. Born in Center City, Philadelphia, 1962.
Wow.
Bleed green, 20 years here in Myrtle Beach. Wow, that's awesome. I went to senior week in Myrtle Beach. I don't remember a lot, but I remember a lot, and it was terrific. You guys are having too much fun. Had to send in another 5. Thanks, guys. Brian, we appreciate you.
Let's
Love
go,
the
Brian.
Profile picture there. Awesome profile picture with the Eagles helmet. And we appreciate the support, my man.
Chase,
and I know that down in Myrtle Beach, it's got to be fun to live down there. What'd you say?
Dude, living in Myrtle Beach has to be dope.
Yeah, it was a good time when we were there. For
2 claps for Brian, though.
2 claps for Brian. 2 claps for all the first-time super chatters. We appreciate you. All right, we're up to 170 people watching live. We had a spike in audience. We're 2 likes away from 100. We'll start the official show once we get to 100 likes. Like I said, only 2 away, and then we'll start to break everything down on the Philadelphia Eagles front. We are going to begin with a Derek Barnett trade update. We're up to $147 in super chats. It's Chase. It's Trizzy. It's the Pocket Aces, and Philadelphia Eagles Now officially begins now. We have a new Derek Barnett trade update to get to on today's Philadelphia Eagles Now. I'm Chase Sr., and as always, no matter where you are, how you're tuned in, we appreciate you for making our coverage a part of your day. We know that earlier this week, Barnett and his agent Drew Rosenhaus did request a trade, but we have some new updates on that front, especially some words from Howie Roseman. Before we take a look at all of that, please make sure you subscribe to the show. We've been able to pick up more than 2,000 subscribers this month, and as you can see here to my right, we're closing in on an incredible milestone here on the channel of 50,000 subscribers. This has been the best month in the history of Eagles Now, at least August was. Let's start September with the bang, and let's pick up some more subs. If you want Eagles content every day, we have you covered. So here was that report earlier this week on August 28th from ESPN's Jeremy Fowler. I did a YouTube short on this, and we talked about it briefly here on the show, that Derek Barnett, through his agent Drew Rosenhaus, gauging the market for a potential opportunity to play more elsewhere per sources. Philly plans to keep Barnett, but they understand a deep pass rush roster limits playing time. So the 2017 first-round pick should have trade value. This was before all teams across the NFL trimmed those rosters down to 53 players. And at the time of that report from Fowler, you're thinking Derek Barnett was a first-round pick back in 2017. Rookie season was pretty solid. Since then, been up and down, recovered the fumble in the Super Bowl. Last year only played one game, and the Philadelphia Eagles were very successful without Barnett's services. They had 70 sacks, 15 more than any team. They don't need him this year, and they got even deeper along that defensive line, bringing in and drafting Jalen Carter, as well as Nolan Smith. And the Eagles, so deep at edge and defensive end, where you can see where Philadelphia is coming from, you can see where Derek Barnett is coming from. Because I've always said this about Barnett, frustrating player with all of the penalties and some of the ill-advised mistakes. I do believe there's a better player in there. And if the Philadelphia Eagles could or still can get something back, trade him, especially if you can get some solid value via the draft or fulfilling a position of need at linebacker or maybe safety. The Eagles have continued, though, to value Derek Barnett. That's why they drafted him in the first round. Then they signed him in free agency 2 off seasons ago. They restructured his contract back a few weeks ago to give him more guaranteed money, and they like what he can bring to the table. But then there was this update from Jeff McLane, which really does back up the Eagles valuing Barnett. He said, reading Derek Barnett, the Eagles envision a role for the defensive end on game days, somewhere around a dozen snaps, so they're not actively pursuing a trade. But if the right offer were to come along, ... And Jeff McLane left the tweet as such. So the Eagles, as of right now, haven't gotten an offer that's been enticing for Barnett. They have a vision for him to play on game days, about a dozen snaps or so. And with Philadelphia, you can see where they're coming from as well. The Eagles clearly value the defensive line. Howie Roseman has said it time and time again. And Derek Barnett might not be happy about the role, but he's also the one who agreed to a contract restructure to come back to Philadelphia in the first place to make him more affordable and free up some cap space. Here's the update on Barnett from Howie Roseman this week. He said, defensive end, that's a position for us, which you see with the 53-man roster. It is a priority, so we're going to keep as many of those guys as we possibly can. Last year, we got in a little bit of a bind, had to give up a pick and had to sign guys in the middle of the year. He's referencing there the trade for Robert Quinn, which didn't work out for Philadelphia. They surrendered a 4th-round pick, and Robert Quinn, I think, gave them 1 sack. The bind, to me, was on the interior of that defensive line. They were awful against the run, and that's why they brought in Ndamukong Suh and Linval Joseph. More from Roseman on Barnett. I think you know us well enough that any conversations we have with players are private. Tremendous respect for Derek and the player in person that he is and what he brings to this football team. Love having him here. That's why we bring him back. So for us, having those defensive line guys lets us sleep a little bit better at night. And Derek is certainly one of those guys. He's going to be a part of this rotation, at least if he's on this football team. But again, I think if Howie were to be offered a 3rd or 4th round pick, Derek Barnett would have been traded elsewhere. And I'm honestly a little bit surprised that another team across the NFL doesn't look at the pedigree, the QB pressure numbers, the intensity and the toughness that he brings, and the need that they have at defensive end, and they didn't make an offer to Philadelphia that they thought was worth it. So with that, we tee up this, and I want to put you to the challenge here. One word that comes to mind when you think about Derek Barnett. Toughness might be one of them. For me, my one word, penalty. It seems as though when the Eagles can't afford to commit a penalty, Derek Barnett commits a penalty. Late hit on the quarterback, driving a quarterback into the ground, roughing the passer, some type of dumb hit after the whistle. It's always him who does it. But there's some good and bad with Barnett. And let's be real about this. You talk about the good, he does bring toughness to your defense. The Eagles do value their pass rush. We just heard from general manager Howie Roseman here on the show. He gives you quality, affordable depth at a really important position. He is skilled at pressuring the quarterback. Fascinating numbers coming your way in just a bit. And he was a part of a really famous play. He's the one when Brandon Graham stripped Tom Brady. It was Derek Barnett who recovered that football. But with the good, there's some bad to match that. It's been a disappointing first-round pick. The production hasn't been there for a guy that you drafted in the first round. 2 of his 6 seasons so far in the National Football League have been cut short because of injuries. So he has been injured to a certain degree. The ill-advised penalties that I just alluded to, and the sack number's not great. But sometimes when I look at sack numbers, it's like wins and losses for a pitcher. ERA tells a bigger story than wins and losses for a pitcher. Sometimes quarterback hits and quarterback pressures can be more important than quarterback sacks. Coming up next, really interesting Derek Barnett numbers, and I'm going to compare him to Brandon Graham because these two players a lot more similar than what you might think. First, though, it's never too early to look ahead to the Week 1 opponent. Philadelphia Eagles going to hit the road against the New England Patriots in Foxborough to kick off the 2023 campaign. The Eagles, 3.5-point favorites, over-under for this game at 45 even. If you want to bet on this matchup or any of the Week 1 games all throughout the season as well, all those odds are available thanks to our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head to chatsports.com/EaglesBet. Promo code Eagles125. You put in $100, you get $125 back. $225 to game with. It's the best deal that any sportsbook has to offer this upcoming NFL season. The Barnett and Brandon Graham similarities. I've always said this about Derek Barnett. He does remind me a little bit from a playing style and production standpoint of Brandon Graham. And you think about both of their trajectories. Both first-round picks, both busts to start their careers. They're not twitchy athletes. They're pure 4-3 defensive ends who have both never had crazy sack numbers. Where Brandon Graham separates from Derek Barnett, personality, leadership, contagious smile. Brandon Graham is a smart and heady player, and he's been able to turn his career around to become an Eagles legend. I wouldn't say any of those adjectives really describe Derek Barnett, but look at these numbers that I find to be very, very interesting. First 6 years for both players. You'll see that Brandon Graham played more games, 80 to Derek Barnett's 65. But the sack numbers are very close. 23.5 for BG, 21.5 for Derek Barnett. So when I say they've never been true sack artists, that's what I'm talking about. How about the quarterback hits, though? This is a number that sides with Derek Barnett. So while he's only had 21.5 sacks in 65 games, he's gotten after the quarterback a lot more than BG. 33 more quarterback hits as compared to Brandon Graham. Hurries do side with Brandon Graham, 179 to 92. Tackles for loss on par with one another. So Derek Barnett, there's a possibility. There is a chance for him to turn around his career. And I think Howie Roseman, who's been running this front office, who's seen Brandon Graham come into his own, might see that same potential at good value because they're not paying Derek Barnett all that much money with DB that they had with BG. So if you enjoyed today's show, I want you to give me a real one down below in the chat. As always, we appreciate you for tuning into the show. Don't forget to subscribe. If you want opinions, analysis, news, rumors, live shows, watch parties, we do it all here on Eagles Now. Let's get the 50,000 subscribers together. Couple of super chats coming in during that segment. And for those of you who are coming here right now, we're only getting this show started. 3 more segments left to get to. Hang out for some great Eagles talk. Byron Nails with a $20 donation. A lot happened in the last 2 minutes when I walked away. Greetings from behind enemy lines. Jets Giants country. Go Birds! Best fans around. Byron, you know that on a live Philadelphia Eagles now, crazy things can happen. We appreciate you representing the Birds and watching the show from enemy territory. We're here in the Chat Sports Studios. We're in Dallas, Texas. We're in enemy territory as well. You already know I got that McGregor walk sometimes when I'm wearing my Eagles jersey through town. Can't be scared out here. Lion Fighter with the $5 super chat. Barnett is a little bit reckless, but he is too good to give away for nothing. I totally agree with that. Reckless is a good one word that I asked for a little bit earlier. Byron Nails, you have yourself a gold sticker. I know you sent in that super chat earlier, but that reminded me. What's up, Trace?
All right, so injury update on Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Just NFL news.
Okay.
Cooper Kupp suffered a setback in his recovery from his hamstring injury, per head coach Sean McVay. They're calling him day-to-day for now. McVay said it's a muscle strain.
Interesting.
So if you're planning on drafting Cooper Kupp in fantasy,
There you go.
there you go.
I'll tell you this. In the NFC West, Niners and Seahawks will be good. Jonathan Gannon's Cardinals could be a straight dumpster fire. They might start Josh Dobbs week 1. The Rams might be bad too. You might have 2 teams in that NFC West vying for Caleb Williams.
Hot take, NFC West, worse than the NFC South right now.
Niners and Seahawks
Niners
might
and Seahawks make
pull up the
the
weight,
The high,
but then the bottom barrel of that division,
that's what I'm saying.
It
The
is not
high
good.
is really high,
Yeah.
but the low is really freaking low.
that is rough. That is rough.
Hot take, but they're both pretty bad conferences.
You know what's not rough? A spike in audience and the fact that we are closing in on taking down New York Giants now. They did have $370 in super chats on their live stream this week. We're 1 segment down. We have 3 to go, and we're already at $172 in donations. And when you show love to the channel, we do fun things. Trace has been ripping shots of Patron. It's a thirsty Thursday. I did my shotgun a little bit earlier thanks to Flipping the Bird, 85's $50 super chat. And producer Chip, who's doing some other duties today, who is in the new rap song from Potion, by the way, said that he will do a beer boot. 3 beers, 1 boot for a $50 super chat. I see Dennis Designs. I saw Romeo in the chat. So this show, it could continue to pop off. Coming up next on the show, the Eagles' initial 53-man roster is set. We're going to take a look at literally every player who's on this football team. That's what's coming up right now, live on Eagles Now. Welcome into Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. Chase Sr. here with you. Appreciate all of you for clicking on this video. There are so many content options out there, but I'm always humbled and grateful for all of you showing support to the show and coming your way on the docket for today. A look at the 2023 Philadelphia Eagles roster. We're going to take a look at every single player on this team after the Eagles had that 53-man initial roster set. Before we get started, though, if you think the Eagles have an elite football team, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. You think about how Howie Roseman has built this club, it might be the most talented and deepest team that he's ever overseen. As the general manager of this team, that's what I believe. If you're with me, like the video. Let's start off at the quarterback position. Philadelphia obviously in a really good spot with Jalen Hurts going into year 2. Last year, got so much better as a passer, and his ability to keep the ball out of harm's way was so impressive. And it's so impressive because of how many times he threw it, how many times he ran it, and how much the Eagles' offense revolved around the production for Jalen Hurts. Yet, he made really good decisions with the football, throwing it, and nearly never put it in harm's way in coughing it up either. Second in MVP voting, and I think that this year he can continue to take another leap as a passer. I have big questions about Marcus Mariota as the long-term backup. If he has to fill in for a game, you can go zone read and RPO heavy with Mariota. But then defenses can adjust to that, and I worry about Mariota's long-term value as a passer. But everybody was really impressed and surprised by the productivity of Tanner McKee throughout the preseason. The Philadelphia Eagles may have gotten a high-level backup with the late-round pick out of Stanford. To running back here, A lot of rumors throughout the offseason that Philadelphia was maybe going to target Jonathan Taylor. As of right now, he's going back to the Colts. Some Eagles fans hit me up, and they said they wanted Josh Jacobs. I have remained steadfast on this, that I really like the makeup of this Eagles running back room. You might not have a bona fide bell cow back who's going to be a 3-down back for this team, but the versatility in the backfield is something that I'm a big fan of. Kenneth Gainwell can run it, he can receive it. And last year, he was kind of that 3rd-down pass-catching option back, with Miles Sanders having a career year. In training camp, he was treated as RB1. So on our depth chart, we're going to go with Gainwell as RB1. But DeAndre Swift is so talented. He led all running backs in yards per touch last year. Home run threat anytime he gets his hands on the football. An even better receiver than Miles Sanders, just has to stay healthy. And if he does, look out for Swift. Rashad Penny, I think that his role is going to kind of be what LeGarrette Blount occupied for the 2017 Eagles. He could certainly carry the load, but be a physical running back for this team. And then Boston Scott, return man, do it all back, who when he plays against the New York Giants, you know he's going to take it to the crib at least once. Wide receiver. Philadelphia only going with 4 wide receivers on the opening 53-man roster. A little bit of a surprise, but I imagine they're going to make another move here for a veteran to bring in a wide receiver 5. A.J. Brown broke the Eagles single-season record for the most yards for a receiver in franchise history last year, and Devontae Smith broke the record for the most catches for a wide receiver in franchise history. They've been borderline unstoppable in training camp as well as in the preseason. I think that Smitty can solidify himself as a top 10 wideout this year. A.J. Brown's already in that category. That gives Jalen Hurts 2 very good weapons. If Quez Watkins can become more consistent as a player, you now have that vertical threat who could take the top off of the defense. And Olamide Zaccheaus is a worthy option of being a wide receiver 4 who can also contribute on special teams. I think it's going to surprise some people. He has a lot of ability. That is definitely an upgrade over Zach Pascal. Tight end. Eagles making a move this week, bringing in Albert Okwuegbunam. I think he might emerge as tight end 2 or tight end 3 before the season is over. Howie Roseman, in talking about that acquisition, said, for a guy who's 6'5", 260 pounds, ran a 4.4 40-yard dash, he's a great athlete, he moves swiftly, has really good bend in his lower body for a bigger guy. He's not a good blocker, but as a gifted pass catcher in a 2 tight end set with Dallas Goedert, who can be that blocker, I think that he can be a very good player and intriguing option in this offense. And I love how Howie Roseman gave up a 7th-round pick for a player who I think has a lot of ability. So look out for Albert O, who I covered in high school, have good scouting background on him to surprise some people because he's more gifted than Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra. I do think that Dallas Goedert can have a career year this year, though. Eagles offensive line, still probably the best in football, if not top 5 unit. They're going to miss Isaac Seumalo, who's been having a great preseason with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cam Jurgens steps in for him. Landon Dickerson always seems to be dealing with some type of ailment, but he's tough as nails, and he's a really good left guard for this team. And then at the tackle spots, Jordan Mailata can be dominant. He's certainly had some up and downs. You want to see him be a little bit more consistent, but he's a very, very good left tackle. And Lane Johnson, you might be able to make the argument he's the best tackle in the game. What will the Eagles' record be this season in 2023? Let me know down in the chat before we shift over to the defensive side of the football. Also have a deal that I want to tell you about. Our Real John shirts are available. So if you're all about that Philly life and you love supporting the show and you love the birds, Real John shirts are available right now. Chatsports.com/RealJohn, available in black as well as the Kelly green with that old school text that was on the jerseys when the Eagles were rocking those Kelly greens back in the day. One more time, chatsports.com/RealJohn. You get one of those and you take a picture of you rocking it, we'll definitely get you on the show. Let's go to the defensive side of the football, and you might look at the Eagles defensive line depth chart and get a little bit confused. We're just not really sure what Sean Desai is going to do. He's going to run a 4-3-3-4 hybrid. So the most simplified approach in breaking this down is to just go about it in this manner. You have your traditional defensive ends in Brandon Graham, Josh Sweat, and Derek Barnett, who are your traditional 4-3 defensive ends. And the Eagles are going to have some of those fronts. But also, when they have that 3-4 front, Hassan Reddick will obviously be on the field. And then you have your traditional defensive tackles. Well, Fletcher Cox, Jalen Carter, Milton Williams, Contavious Street, Moro Ajomo. But because they run that 3-4 scheme sometimes, Jordan Davis and Marlon Tupulutu, those are traditional nose tackles. So I actually like the versatility that the Eagles have in the trenches along that defensive line. They could pretty much go too deep at all these positions, and I think they're once again going to wreak havoc against opposing offenses. Linebacker, Philadelphia only keeping 3 off-ball linebackers on the opening 53. Those guys, Nakobe Dean, Zach Cunningham, and Christian Ellis. But again, with that 3-4 front sometimes, you have your outside stand-up pass rushing linebackers in Hassan Reddick, Nolan Smith, and Patrick Johnson. Good news for Nolan Smith after missing the last couple of weeks after injuring his shoulder in that second preseason game, was back on the practice field. I think Ellis will go back and forth with Zach Cunningham, but on opening day, I think Cunningham and Nakobe Dean will be your starting off-ball linebackers. Cornerback, Philadelphia, all of a sudden has become pretty deep here. And I was talking with producer Chip the other day, who grew up in Bucks County. I grew up in Chester County. And remember how bare the cupboard was just several years ago when it seemed as though Philadelphia could never get the cornerback position right. That's not the case anymore. They have a really good secondary. You do have older players in Darius Slay and James Bradbury. Howie Roseman did think about moving off of both of those players this offseason, but he brings both back. They invest in that position. Howie even said that when we build our defense, look at defensive line and cornerback. So you can see why they paid those guys to come back. Avonte Maddox is a very good slot receiver, even though our homie Dennis Designs doesn't like him. But your backups, you now have some really quality backups at this position who are very solid young players. Josh Jobe, year 2, UDFA out of Alabama. Eli Ricks made this team as one of the highest graded cornerbacks according to Pro Football Focus all across the NFL in the preseason. Keely Ringo still is too raw, in my opinion, to see consistent snaps because he did get beat often in the preseason, but the ability is there for a guy who used to run a 4-3. And Mario Goodrich, he saw a lot of snaps in the slot when Maddox was still dealing with that toe injury. He's a quality and capable backup as well. And on the Eagles practice squad, some pretty solid corners there as well. To safety, maybe the biggest question mark on this team. Reed Blankenship is not a question mark. He had higher Pro Football Focus grades than C.J. Gardner-Johnson last year. He was a UDFA who ended up cracking this team last year as a rookie, and this year he was the number 1 safety on this team with that first string defense day in and day out of practice, and he couldn't stop making plays. He had 3 interceptions up to Deshaun Watson in 2 joint practices against Cleveland. I'm not sure who's going to start opposite of Blankenship. I think right now it might be Terrell Edmunds, but you have some viable backup options there outside of Edmunds. And Sidney Brown and Justin Evans, 2 players that Philadelphia really likes. I think eventually Sidney Brown is going to become the starting safety opposite of Blankenship. I like the versatility to his game, how he can play in the box and as a deep safety, making plays around the line of scrimmage. Really good range from sideline to sideline. He's also really good against the run, and I love how he plays with his hair on fire. He is not scared to come up to that line of scrimmage and lay a big hit. And then you go to our specialists here. Jake Elliott, I think, is behind Justin Tucker as the second best kicker right now in the game. When you talk about clutch gene, range, leg power, and accuracy, Elliott is really good. Right now, Arryn Siposs is not on the active roster. He is on the practice squad. If he ends up impressing with the practice squad, he'll be a game day elevation to be this team's punter. I personally would love to see Philadelphia bring in a Matt Araiza, but Derek Gunn, formerly of NBC Sports Philadelphia, did say that the Philadelphia Eagles right now are not interested in Araiza because the civil suit is still open. Rick Lovato, a very good long snapper. And then Trace, can we go to the returners as well? Because the Philadelphia Eagles signed Devon Allen and Britain Covey to the practice squad. They are not on the active roster, and they might be game day elevations to be the returner for the day of the game. Right now on the active roster, though, you're looking at these options to return punts and kicks. Olamide Zaccheaus as your punt returner, Boston Scott as your kick returner. In an emergency situation, Devontae Smith can return a punt. He did that en route to winning the Heisman Trophy at Alabama, but if Nick Sirianni throws him out there, I might have to throw hands with Sirianni because you can't put him in harm's way. Quez Watkins can also serve as a punt returner or kick returner. Kenneth Gainwell can fulfill those duties as well. If you made it this far on the show, hopefully you got informed today because that's part of our job. Spam Go Birds down in the chat. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll catch you next time here on the show. So type Go Birds in the chat. Byron Nails with the $5 donation as we were doing that segment. His record prediction, which I asked for a little bit earlier, 13-4, but it's enough to get the first round bye in the NFC. Winning 14 games back-to-back seasons, that's really difficult to do, given the parity of the NFL, how often things change year over year. But let's be real about this football team. They are legit. They are loaded. They have premier players. They are also very deep, and that's why a lot of their players who didn't make the 53 went to other practice squads. They got claimed by other teams because Howie Roseman has done a hell of a job as a general manager for this team. So Byron Nails with another $5 super chat. That brings us to $176 in donations here. We're trying to catch Giants now. Earlier this week, $350 on their live stream. Can we get there? The good news is we have a couple of segments left. Now, here at Chat Sports, when we get big super chats like Flipping the Bird, 85, who sent in that 50-piece earlier, I had to shotgun a beer real quick. We like to have fun here at Chat Sports. We're kind of a hybrid between ESPN and Barstool. That's the best way to summarize it. And to really show you that, my boy Mitchell Renz is live on the Las Vegas Raiders Report today getting a Raiders tattoo leg sleeve. I'm not even kidding. He's doing that right now. So if you want to go show him some love, get into the chat on the Raiders Report and give me a Go Birds. Show them what's up because they think they're the best fans in the NFL. I think Eagles fans would disagree. We'll put that link here in the chat. I have it right here. I got you, Trace. Okay. So go over there and type Go Birds, and then, of course, come back over here and continue to hang out with us.
So if we forgot, producer Chip, junior producer, I'm going to continue to say that. He's junior. He still wants to do a beer bong. Beer boot? Beer bong?
Beer boot. He said beer boot. For a $50 super chat, he'd do a beer boot. Yeah.
$50.
Yeah. All those super chats that came in, too, by the way, we're ringing the Liberty Bell. We certainly appreciate those donations. We have Losing Hope back in the house. He's saying, what's up, Trizzy? Losing Hope was with us for our final preseason game, and he knows how crazy it got with Dream Green. He was kind of taking shots at Dream Green because Dream Green was kind of taking shots at Losing Hope, and you can't cross the real one. Losing Hope knows all about that, but he knows how crazy it got. Here's a look at our Super Chat battle and our Super Chat menu here. You know, you send in a 5, we give you a beer cheers. By the way, I do have to crack another beer here because we did get a lot of 5s here, so I owe y'all some sips. $10, your name goes on the lunch pail, but I made a deal with the homies that anybody who sends in a Super Chat today, you're going... Oh! $250 Super Chat! E-A-G-L-E-S! Eagles!
Get your ass in here, Chipper!
Flipping the bird! 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 That's one of the biggest super chats in the history of Eagles now. Flipping the bird, a member of the Bird's Nest Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And how about this flex?
My mom, dude.
He said, oops, did I do that? LOL. G-Men, go Birds!
Bro, I'm not kidding. This super chat was so crazy, my mom's calling me.
Wow. That's insane. Flipping the bird with the 250.
Holy cow. You're going to have to wait, Mom. Sorry.
Holy shit. All
wow. Right. I mean, I'll do it. I guess I'll get in on this chug, too.
Yeah. Here's I'll do a beer bong because I already cracked this beer. Happy Dad, not a sponsor. Should be. What's good, Happy Dad? Where are you at?
Where you at, Nelk?
Flipping the bird seems like a Happy Dad.
Dude, look at Look at this
Cheers,
freaking
flipping
work
the
right
bird.
here.
Whew. That's crazy.
Everyone type chug in the chat. Chug, 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 chug. Nice. Nice.
That's for flipping the bird. We also have a new guest in studio. Allie Barefoot is here. And I want you all to be nice. First of all, type AB in the chat. But also, she is a Commanders fan.
Ooh.
She is a Commanders fan.
Everyone be nice to new girl Allie.
Allie Barefoot, everybody type AB. We'll introduce you to Allie. She just started this week, so type AB in the chat, and Allie can say what's up to the people, even though she's a Commanders fan. But I respect it because you're from Virginia. You're just repping the home squad. You're not one of those frauds out there who like grew up in Philadelphia, but you're a Cowboys fan because they were good in the mid-90s.
Right. The one thing is you can't call me a bandwagon fan because there's not a lot I can join on to right now.
Exactly.
So, I mean, I've been tried and true. It's what my family brought me on to. I've grown into the Redskins Commanders fan. So, you know, I respect the Eagles. It's a good division. We're pretty tough.
Yeah.
I think we're the best division in the NFL.
I agree.
So, I mean, I don't know if the Commanders are going to win this year. I'm a very realistic Commanders fan. Please be nice.
What do you think of Sam Howell?
They'll be nice.
I think Sam Howell is a good start. I think we're not going to,
Bridge quarterback, maybe?
yeah, he's not.
See what he can do this year.
He might not be our franchise for the next 5 years or so, but we got rid of Dan Snyder, most importantly, so we'll see what happens.
Awesome. Allie Barefoot right there. Spitting that reel.
Spitting them facts.
Spitting those facts.
Shout out Barefoot.
So she'll be helping us on YouTube eventually. And we also have a partnership for the second straight year with Amazon Alexa. So anybody who has an Amazon device, once the season gets rolling, we provide content for Amazon Alexa. It's a great partnership for us here at Chat Sports and goes to show you the growth that's really taken place under the Chat Sports umbrella. So she'll be doing a lot of that. She'll be doing some YouTube stuff eventually as well. NFL, NBA just started this week. Byron Nail saying, respect AB, respect AB. And as you can hear, very good broadcasting voice as well. And like myself, Allie made the switch from local news to the good side. From depression, heartache, and stress to talking about sports. What do they call it in the news business? They call it the toy factory. The sports department, they call it like the toy factory. So we're a part of like the fun element of media. So shout out to Allie, staying true to her squad, and we appreciate her sitting in and hanging out with us. So here's a look at our Super Chat menu. Flipping the Bird 85 flipped this show on its head with the $250 Super Chat. He's now a member of the Bird's Nest Hall of Fame. Chipper will do his beer boot. 3 beers, 1 boot. But in the meantime, you send in a 5, beer cheers, and we ring the Liberty Bell. $10, you go on the lunch pail. 20, Trace takes some shots. 50 for a beer bong or shotgun. $100 or more, Bird's Nest Hall of Fame. And how about Paul? He is a first time Super Chatter. Philly fan from New Orleans.
From Nolans,
This
baby.
heat sucks. What's funny about Trace, he's an adopted Eagles fan because he became my full-time producer last year on this show. He's
Yep.
also a Saints fan now.
Yep.
So you're about that NOLA life.
Oh, I love New Orleans. New Orleans is a great city, great people, great food, phenomenal music.
What I like to say about the
Great place.
Big Easy, great city for a weekend.
For a weekend.
For a weekend. If I'm there more than like 2 nights, 3 days, I'm cooked.
It's like Vegas.
Liver shot, eyes are bloody, I'm limping to the finish line. I can't wait to get on that plane.
Barefoot,
But-
you go to New Orleans ever?
Oh, yeah, I went there for work.
Nice.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah?
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Fun city.
I was there for 48 hours.
48 hours.
Exactly. You're there and you're out.
I'm also like a big blues music guy, and you can get some of the best blues, really good Cajun food. If anybody goes to the New Orleans area, you're not going to do this downtown. I do recommend a swamp tour.
They're sick.
Take a look at some gators and some wild boar, some raccoons. It's very, very cool.
It's dope.
You take out one of those airboats too. That's a vibe as well. So, Paul, thank you so much for that $20 super chat. That causes another Trace shot. And also, Paul, with you being a first-time super chatter and a super chatter in general on the show today, you get a gold sticker, and
Paul.
you will go on the lunch pail.
Patron for Paul.
Patron for Paul. So we have a bunch of gold stickers that we've been handing out today. that are going on the lunch pail. The thought process behind the lunch pail. What's grittier than the dog days of August? What's grittier than popping the pads during training camp, trying to crack a roster in the preseason? We're also a blue-collar family here on Eagles Now. Philadelphia, blue-collar city. What's more blue-collar than a metal lunch pail? So there we go. And I'll say this. We're at $446 in Super Chats. We get to 500, I'll take down a beer from the lunch pail. That's what we'll do if we get to $500 in Super Chat. So again, $500 drinking a beer out of the lunch pail.
Also, producer Chip, he's filming 3 videos real quick with Petey.
Okay.
Then he'll come and do
He'll
his
come in and
drinking.
do his boot after that. Believe it or not, we do some work here at Chat
We
Sports.
still have ball to talk.
we still
got ball to talk.
2 segments left, right?
Yeah.
Take a look at the practice squad next, and then we'll take your questions. Why don't you pop up that mailbag pusher? Use the hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to ask us anything. That gets you featured here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. We'll take your questions. You have a hot take. You have some analysis that you want to pass along. You can do that as well. Hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to literally ask us anything. Andrew Nathan said $250. That's enough for everyone to beer boot. Just saying. Chip is going to do that beer boot. I did the beer bong. Also, good reviews from Allie, flipping the bird 85. She seems cool. A lot of people typing AB. Love to see it. She gave us a fist pump there. All right, coming up next, Eagles practice squad pretty much set. I think there's 13 players signed to the 16-man taxi squad. So we're going to go player for player for the players who the Eagles have signed to the practice squad thus far. That's segment number 3. Let's get to it live here on Eagles Now. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. Appreciate all of you for watching today's show. And no matter where you are or how you're tuned in, thank you so much for supporting the program. On the docket for today, Eagles have fulfilled 13 spots of their 16-man practice squad. So we're going to go over every single player who's been signed to the practice squad thus far. First, though, it is the final month of August. And we've been in a great sub-battle all throughout this month with a couple of divisional foes here in the Dallas Cowboys report and New York Giants now. Let me say this, that August was the best month in the history of Eagles Now. So, again, I do appreciate that support and you coming by and hanging out with us. But can we close the gap on the Cowboys report on the final day of this month? And can we continue to dominate New York Giants now? If you're in the market for daily Eagles coverage, this is your go-to spot. It's all interactive, informative, and insightful. Hit that subscribe button right now. So player for player on the Eagles practice squad up to this point. Philadelphia bringing back Devon Allen, and with the 73-yard return in the preseason finale, I think he displayed the special teams value that he can give this team. But I imagine that Brian Johnson and Nick Sirianni are thinking of ways to get creative. If Allen were to get activated to the active roster, jet sweeps, bubble screens, wide receiver screens, handoffs, find ways to get him the football and use that Olympic track speed because he's an Olympic speedster that can translate to the NFL level. We saw it in that preseason game in which he started to the left on that opening kickoff, got to the 15, and how often do you see at the NFL level where a guy is able to reverse course, get to the other sideline, and then turn it upfield and turn that into a monster game? So many times that happens in high school. Doesn't happen at the NFL level. When you have speed that Devon Allen has, that's what he's able to do. I'm excited that his development continues with this organization that gave a chance on him as he restarted his football career last year. Britain Covey also coming back to the Birds here. And for Covey, he was playing for this team as the primary returner in the Super Bowl back in February. Clearly, Philadelphia likes him. Very sure-handed player who rarely, if ever, fumbled a punt or fumbled a kick last year. The lack of speed and the lack of size worried me last year because he got hit and thrown around like a rag doll. At Utah, though, he was a threat to take it to the crib anytime he put his hands on the football. And I think Philadelphia sees that. And before he hurt his hamstring in training camp, he did make some strides as a wide receiver. It makes sense to bring him back to the practice squad. He can get elevated 2 times this year to be the team's returner from the practice squad to the game day roster. Mekhi Garner, another young player who didn't make the initial 53, and that's just a byproduct of the Eagles being really deep in the secondary traits. Can we take a look at the Eagles secondary depth chart? Because I like where Philadelphia is as we move forward. James Bradbury and Darius Slay were arguably the best cornerback duo in the NFL last year, but they're getting a little bit older. So at some point, you have to start to plan ahead. Josh Jobe, Eli Ricks, Mario Goodrich, Keely Ringo, and Mekhi Garner. Those are 5 corners there, all under the age of 23, who can really help your football team as we move forward in a passing league. I was happy that Garner was able to come back to the Eagles. Offensive lineman Julian Good-Jones. For him, this is an interesting scenario because JGJ can be the backup center for this team if Jason Kelce were to go down, and if Philadelphia wants to maintain Cam Jurgens at that right guard spot, because on the opening 53, Jason Kelce is the only center. Now, we know that Cam Jurgens was drafted to be Kelce's future replacement when Philadelphia took him in the second round out of Nebraska. But right now, you look at the Eagles' depth chart, Cam Jurgens is the starting right guard. If Kelce were to get hurt, Jurgens would then start at center, but then Julian Good-Jones would probably be that next player to get activated to the 53. So that's kind of the thought process here with Philadelphia on that front. Tarron Jackson, this team is so deep at defensive end and at edge rusher, it made sense that he wasn't able to crack this 53 either because the Eagles are so deep. And it's an embarrassment of riches for Howie Roseman in this organization. And you'd be hard-pressed to find a team with more talent, but also more depth in the trenches along that defensive line. Brandon Graham, Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Contavious Street, Moro Ajomo, Marlon Tupuolutu, Milton Williams, and Derek Barnett. For Tarron Jackson, it's not a knock on him that he couldn't make this team. That just comes down to this team being extremely deep along the defensive line. For linebacker Kyron Johnson, he's kind of your 4th outside linebacker for this team, and just another depth piece if an injury were to happen at that spot. Safety Tristin McCollum, Eagles have some safety concerns. So if a Terrell Edmonds, a Justin Evans, a Sidney Brown do struggle, do they look the way of McCollum or do they go external move? I think they go the latter, external move, but you need to fill up the practice squad. They do it with Tristin McCollum, who might have long-term potential, kind of like Marcus Epps did for this team, which allowed him to play well last year and then cash in with the Las Vegas Raiders in free agency. A lot of people wanted to see Joseph Ngata come back. The rookie out of Clemson, who is a UDFA, brings this team a size element, a jump ball ability, the 50-50 type of catch where he doesn't have the long-form speed to gain separation from a cornerback, but he can really flourish on some of those back shoulder balls. You throw it up to him on a back corner fade in the end zone. He has that necessary size to go up and get it. I call him a jump ball wide receiver. I want to see this guy continue to develop under the Eagles' watch. Aaron Moorhead has done a hell of a job of developing some of these wide receivers. I think that he can do good work with Joseph Ngata. Tight end Brady Russell. You look at the Eagles' tight end depth chart. Dallas Goedert, great all-around tight end. You have Jack Stoll, Grant Calcaterra as some backups. And then Philadelphia this week made that trade for Albert Okwuegbunam. They are legitimately 4 deep at that tight end spot. And I think that Alberto could surprise a lot of people this year. He might be the most athletic tight end on this roster. Not a good blocker, very good pass catcher, very good athlete in the open field, and a menace to bring down if he's running down that seam or running down the numbers as kind of like a pass-catching tight end who doesn't block at all because, frankly, he's not good at it, even though he's 6'5", 260 pounds. So for Brady Russell, it's kind of that argument and that conversation with Tarron Jackson. Like, you don't make the team, but you don't make the team because the Eagles are so deep at that position. But he did have a good training camp, pretty good preseason, could be a player who makes the 53 next year in training camp. The man who everybody is talking about, and we know that kickers are people too. We know that punters are people too. Arryn Siposs. He is back with Philadelphia on the practice squad. Among all punters last year, I think there were 38 qualifying punters. He was like 36 of 38 in average yards per punt, something along those lines. Frankly, he ain't good. And the Eagles partially lost that Super Bowl because of Arryn Siposs and his ineffectiveness to boot the ball downfield. He shanked that ball to Kadarius Toney. Kadarius Toney was able to pick that ball up like Tarron Jackson, flip the field, get down to the 5. Chiefs punch it in, score that touchdown, and the momentum of that game changed. And with Arryn Siposs, I'd like to see a punter in here who's more consistent, who has a stronger leg, who's better at pinning the ball inside the 20. I'm surprised that Philadelphia hasn't signed another practice squad punter. Right now, he's on the practice squad. If he's punting for this team week 1, that's a little bit of an issue. The pressure is on him, but frankly, the pressure's been on him. That's why Philadelphia brought in Ty Zentner as the UDFA out of Kansas State. So with that, we tee up this. Which P squad player will have the biggest impact on the 53-man roster this year? Let me know down in the chat. Let's continue to talk about Siposs here, because along that same conversation, a lot of people talking about Matt Araiza, former punter at San Diego State. The Eagles will not be working out Araiza, according to Derek Gunn. And the chatter that I'm hearing, the chatter that is out there, and why teams aren't giving him workouts, is because the civil suit is open. And that's scaring teams away from Matt Araiza, who was alleged to be involved in a gang rape allegation at San Diego State. His defense team, and according to a report from Yahoo Sports, did show that he wasn't even there, and the relationship that he had with the woman was a consensual relationship at one point. It's all messy. I used to cover local news back in the day, and when a civil suit is open, that does give teams pause, because there could be legal ramifications put on Matt Araiza because of that civil suit. But here's what I do know. In 2021 at San Diego State, he was deemed the punt god for a reason. 51-plus yards per punt. That's an FBS record. He had 39 punts of 50-plus yards, also a record. 18 punts of 60-plus yards, also a record. If he's found not guilty, and as of right now, that's pretty much been the case. But again, it's the civil suit that's open that has given team pause. But if this guy's ever able to punt at the NFL level, with the leg, with the precision, with the power, he can legitimately be a special teams weapon. And if he's found not guilty, and if everything works itself out legally, I want to see a talent like that be able to punt in this league, because he's truly one of one. 3 more players to get to. Offensive lineman Brett Toth signed to the practice squad. Linebacker Ben VanSumeren played his college ball at Michigan State, impressed throughout training camp and in the preseason. I think he could be a developmental linebacker for this team. And then wide receiver Greg Ward. It seems as though when you think Greg Ward won't be a part of the Philadelphia Eagles, when you think that he's not going to make the 53, not make the practice squad, he continues to come back. Greg Ward can be a backup wide receiver, can be a returner, and he is very sure-handed, and you can put your trust in him that he can always make a big play if his number is called. The quarterback at Houston has made a pretty solid career for himself at the NFL level at wide receiver. Some conflicting reports on this front. Tawan Mullen, according to Tim McManus of ESPN, he did report that Mullen was signed to the Eagles practice squad, but Philadelphia did not officially include him. But if that is the case, he's the 14th member of the 16-man taxi squad. And Philadelphia, keep in mind here, because a lot of people have questions about this, there might not be a traditional returner on the 53, but the Eagles on game day can activate a player like Britain Covey or Devon Allen on game day to be the team's returner. So keep an eye out for that, and keep that in mind as we approach week 1 against New England Patriots. Thanks to everybody for watching the show. Don't forget to subscribe. We appreciate your support as always. All right, use hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to get on the show here. This is Philadelphia Eagles Now. Great audience today during our show, and of course, things have gotten crazy as well with all of the Super Chats that have come in. Thank you so much to Flippin' the Bird 85 for one of the biggest Super Chats in the history of this channel, $250. That gets us to $446 in donations. It is a Thirsty Thursday, and after our last segment, a mailbag, we're down to chop it up for Little Eagles Now Happy Hour. We do have one more segment left to get to, though, and it's a mailbag. Use hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to ask us anything. You have a question for me, use hashtag Eagles. I always talk to the bosses and say that Eagles fans are very, very passionate and very, very knowledgeable. Show the bosses that you have that knowledge, that you have that passion by being a part of the show. Use hashtag Eagles or Super Chat to ask us anything. Get those questions in right now, because if we don't get enough questions, we can't answer your questions. Our Super Chat menu. What's up, Trizzy?
So, Barefoot, she wants to make a deal with the Bird Gang.
Uh-oh.
So, Allie, seat is all yours.
What's the deal? Here's Barefoot.
Okay, so I think Chipper is going to do a boot
Yes.
with a $50 super chat. So I'll do a beer bong
Okay.
for a $75 super chat.
All right.
Raise
So
the
what if we get
stakes.
50 and a 25?
Even better.
Suffices?
Even better.
All
I'll
right.
take it.
So if we get 75 in total super chats, let's say that.
Fair.
75 in total super chats. Chipper still owes his beer boot, but then Allie will come on and she'll do a beer bong if we get 75 in total. And I also said if we got to 500, I would drink a beer out of the lunch pail. So basically, if we get to 500, you could pretty much count on us to give you a beer boot, drink a beer out of the lunch pail, and then Barefoot, if we get a little bit more than that, she'll do her beer bong. So that's what we'll do on this Thirsty Thursday edition of Philadelphia Eagles Now. I think it sounds like a pretty damn good deal.
Party.
You
Sounds
get a
like
little
good
thirsty,
happy-
guys. I mean, come on.
Sounds like a pretty good damn
Gosh.
deal right there.
Sounds like a good happy hour, if you ask me.
Lion Fighter getting that question in. Mr. Awesome Guy saying, we lit. Every day we lit. Every day we lit. You already know, Mr. Awesome Guy. Samuel getting in a hashtag Eagles. I saw Byron Nails using hashtag Eagles. Cool Rains tuned in from Australia. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie.
Oi, oi, oi.
You already know the deal. We appreciate our people tuned in from the down under, mate. It's incredible. It's incredible. So I think we're in a good spot with the questions that have come in. Again, we're at $446 in Super Chats. If you want to show the updated numbers against Giants now, we're crushing them now thanks to flipping the Bird 85. But we get $75 more. That's a Barefoot beer bong. I kind of like the sound of that. Triple B's. We get to 500. I'm drinking a beer out of the lunch pail. And producer Chip, once he's done his actual work obligations, he will do a beer boot, which he owes y'all. That's 3 beers in 1 boot. There's 20 coming in from Paul. That's 20. 55 more away from an Alley beer bong. And we're 34 away from 500. Paul. Dennis Design said, oh, it. No. Unless you want to. I'm just kidding, DD. I appreciate you, Brody. So, Paul, getting us closer. We're up to 466. First time super chatter today. Philly fan from New Orleans. He wants us to party because he lives in the party city. You look at our super chat numbers here. We're crushing Giants now. 466 to 350. And one more segment to go. It's going to be a Philadelphia Eagles mailbag where I also want to talk about Cordero Patterson. Because some people have reached out about whether or not the Eagles should trade for him given the question marks at that return spot. Cool Rains getting in a hashtag Eagles question. You'll love to see that as well. So hashtag Eagles or Super Chat. Last call to get those questions in. And again, 466 in Supers. We get the 500. I'm drinking a beer out of the lunch pail. Chip already owes you the beer boot. And we're 55 away from Allie Barefoot making her first appearance on Eagles Now and doing a beer bong. So there you go. All right. We're going to talk about Cordero Patterson. Then we're going to take your questions. That's what's coming up next. And then we'll do our Eagles Now Thirsty Thursday happy hour live on Eagles Now. Could the Philadelphia Eagles have an upgrade at that return spot? You're watching Eagles Now by Chat Sports. I'm Chase Sr. And a lot of people have reached out to me because there are some rumors circulating that maybe Philadelphia, because of the lack of return juice at punt returner and kick returner, could look to target Cordero Patterson of the Atlanta Falcons. There's been some rumors down in the ATL that maybe he could get put on the trade block because he's a win-now player for a team that's not ready to win right now. So let's talk about Patterson here, and then we'll start to take your questions here on Eagles Now. you look at Patterson, and he kind of gives Atlanta what Deebo Samuel gives the San Francisco 49ers, and I kind of look at Cordero Patterson as a Deebo Samuel light. He can impact the game running the football as a ball carrier. He can impact the game catching the ball as a wide receiver. He can also impact the game as a returner. And you look at Patterson's numbers last year in strictly running the ball. 144 carries, 695 yards, average yards per carry of 4.8 with 8 rushing touchdowns. Now, last year in 2022, he didn't have the same numbers receiving that he did in 2021, but still, you see the versatile Swiss Army knife type of ability that he brings that offense, and he's been able to do this throughout his entire career, and he's made multiple stops. Chicago, Minnesota, Atlanta. Last year, 21 catches, 122 yards, average yards per catch pretty low at 6, but again, in 2021, he was awesome. Now, he could be used as a pass-catching option out of the backfield. He could also line up at wide receiver. But this is where I'm intrigued by a player like Patterson. It's in the return game. Not too much of a punt returner, more of a kick return specialist, but when he's the pill, he can take it to the house. His career stats with returns, very, very good. And then what he's also been able to do is just flip the field and give the offense some really good field position. In 2020, he had 18 returns, 434 yards, long of 32. In 2021, a long of 104. In 2022, a long of 102. So every time he gets his hands on the ball, especially in a year like 2019, a long of 103, he can take it to the end zone. And that special teams ability, honestly, when you think about it, it makes this team better, right? But it doesn't just make this team better as a return man. You can put him out there as a running back. You can put him out there as a wide receiver. But with the special teams unit that last year really did struggle, I think that's where Patterson could make his mark. And let's be real, he's not an every down player. So Patterson, how much would it cost as far as draft capital goes to get a player like that, of that ilk? I don't really think it costs all that much. So for Philadelphia and Howie Roseman, that's pretty intriguing. And you think about some of the returners that this team has had, they really haven't had like a dynamic returner since Deshaun Jackson. Before that, Brian Westbrook. Before that, Brian Mitchell. And when you have a loaded roster like this, you don't want any blemishes on that team. You don't want any weaknesses. Special teams is a weakness right now. The return game is a question mark. Cordero Patterson, intriguing option. Appreciate everybody who's reached out to me on social media asking about that. Your questions coming up around the bend, but first, if you're subscribed to the show, I want you to type me down below in the comment section. I'm going to go back, give y'all some thumbs ups, and hit that heart icon as well because we appreciate your support of the channel. Byron Nails with a $10 super chat here. Patterson would be that one player, I believe. He could be that one guy. He also said, drink up Allie. For those of you watching the live show, the real ones know. And that's why you subscribe and turn on your notifications, because when we do go live, things can get crazy, and things get crazy on Eagles Now. Paul, with this question, should we keep Greg Ward or go for more of an under-the-radar receiver like Terrace Marshall Jr.? So Greg Ward is on the practice squad. He can be an active game day elevation up to the 53. I am intrigued, though, Paul, by a player like Terrace Marshall. Some pretty good ability. There's obviously reasons for why he hasn't been able to stick with the team and be on an active game day roster consistently. Speed concerns, body concerns, health concerns, drop concerns. But Eagles do a good job of developing players, and sometimes it takes a change of scenery for that player to get on the right track. Robert Bromley, do you think the Eagles will still bring in a different punter? Right now, it's Arryn Siposs as the punter for this team. But they've been said to be working out punters all throughout this week. If they find a better option than Siposs, they'll drop him from the practice squad, sign that punter to the practice squad, and push him up to the roster for game day. Andrew Nathan. So let's say Siposs makes the 53 after the first couple of weeks on the practice squad. Which Eagle should get the boot? That's a good question. Off the 53? It's a very good question. Trying to think. One of the tight ends, maybe, but I think Philadelphia is like pretty content with going 4 tight ends on the 53. I think they like their safeties. I think they're like their D-backs. Is it a defensive lineman? Like a Marlon Tuipulotu? Is it a backup offensive lineman like a Sua Opeta? It's a very, very good question. Howie Roseman, though, he's so good at like pulling off those roster gymnastics. Trace was mentioning running back, but I think Eagles are going to go running back by committee, and I think they like the 4 that they have in that room. So I think it's one of the other positions that maybe the Eagles could like let go of and then re-sign real quick and pull off those aforementioned roster gymnastics. Eagles fan Kylie, how is Jalen doing in practice? Do you think that he will win every game? I imagine you're talking about Jalen Hurts, and in training camp and in the preseason, he was performing very well in practice, was still very accurate, was keeping the ball out of harm's way, did not play in the preseason at all. First time in his career, he has not played in the preseason, but a very good training camp. And the momentum is really carrying over from last year to this year, when last year in 2022 had the best training camp of his career. In 2023, he's topped that. Hopefully that translates to him continuing his success as this team's franchise quarterback for the next decade, because my goodness, what a great thing that could be if Philadelphia doesn't have to worry about that position for 10 years. Callie Green, work out a punter like Blake Gilligan. He just got cut. So what do you got, Trace? You want to put your mic on? What do you got on Blake Gilligan?
Yeah, so Blake Gilligan, former Saints punter, he's only been in the league for 2 years. So he lost the punt battle to Lou Hedley, who's the Aussie 30-year-old rookie out of the University of Miami.
Tatted the F up, too,
yeah,
right?
It's pretty crazy. But Blake Gilligan is a very good punter. Last year, I mean, he had a long of 68, 7 touchbacks, 77 punts for 3,571 yards.
What was the average yards
Average
per
is
punt?
46.4.
Pretty solid.
So not terrible.
Yeah,
it's not bad. So if Arryn Siposs isn't your guy, Blake Gilligan might be a sneaky one to bring in.
Callie Green, you asked the question. We have answers. Trizzy Trace with the top-tier analysis right there. Lamont Lancaster sent in a super chat a little bit earlier. Patterson for a 5th or 6th round pick. That's what I'm saying, man. Maybe it's a little bit higher than that, but here's the deal with Philadelphia. They have a lot of draft picks, a bevy of them in 2024, so they can afford to trade away some draft capital if that means going all in on this team to upgrade the roster right now. Another super chat coming in from Anthony James, and it's another $20 super chat. Hello from Fargo, North Dakota. Yes, there are Eagles fans up here. We are few, but we are proud. That's very cool. One of my favorite things is to look at all the YouTube analytics and to see like the heat map of where people watch the show. It's wild. We have people watching from every pocket of America, but also worldwide, including North Dakota. Now, Anthony James, that might be a surprise to some. It's not a surprise to your boy. I've seen you tuned in. We appreciate the support. Callie Green with another one. Will Jalen Carter win Defensive Rookie of the Year? Certainly capable. And if we're looking and projecting what Jalen Carter can do this year, I think he translates as a guy who can have a year one impact. The body looks to be the part. He's physical. He's brute. He's strong. He's agile. He's explosive. He's athletic. I've talked about his versatility so much here on the show, where at Georgia, he was used outside of the shoulder of the tackle. He was used at defensive tackle, defensive end, and nose tackle. Like, he can line up all across that line of scrimmage. And we saw in joint practices against Cleveland, joint practices against Indianapolis, he was throwing opposing offensive linemen to the ground. And in that preseason game against Baltimore, first snap that he had, pressure on Josh Johnson, in which, like, the offensive line had him set up, right? And then Jalen Carter, this is the explosive element to his game, where the offensive lineman's in a good position, good leverage, hands on the chest of that shoulder pad area, and then Jalen Carter, rip move, gets by him, and Josh Johnson's like, oh my gosh, how did the rookie get to me so quickly, right? Had to throw that football away. I think that Carter could end up being the best defensive rookie in this draft class. I said that the moment that the Eagles drafted him. I thought it was a great move for Philadelphia to move up from 10 to 9 to take him. Very high on his potential. Flipping the bird, 85, last question of this mail sack. I think they should go international for a punter, recruit another Aussie or a football player. So Arryn Siposs, oddly enough, and funny enough, I guess I should say, is an Aussie. But he's one of the bad Aussie punters. And I'm not sure if it's like a mental thing because Siposs, he's had some good punts. He's had some duds, though, where you're like, bro, people don't realize. So my dad grew up in Melbourne. I have cousins who live in Melbourne still, Melbourne, Australia. Shout out Cool Rains, local viewer or loyal viewer of the show. And when you play Australian rules football, these guys will kick the ball. Now, it's a little bit different. It doesn't have pointy ends to it. It's a different style of football. But these guys can boot that ball like 60, 70 yards. So when Siposs was playing Aussie rules, he was probably doing that. He has a strong enough leg, but he's been way too inconsistent as a punter in this league. But the good news is, you want to look for another Aussies, there are more Aussies who I'm sure are itching by the bit to try to crack an NFL roster. Make sure you subscribe to the show so that you can ask questions during our live shows and we can provide answers and just chop it up with everybody because this is your forum for all Eagles fans out there. Hit that sub button. We appreciate all of you for watching and keep an eye out for future Eagles content every single day because that's the standard here on the show. All right, good stuff. So we had $20 come in from, who was it? Anthony. Oh, so Anthony had another 20. So that's 20. We had Byron with the 10. That's 30. And then 20 come in from Paul. That's 50. So we're 25 away from Allie doing her beer bong. And we're 4 away from me drinking a beer out of the lunch pail. And then once Chip is wrapped up with his other producing duties, he's coming on here to do a beer boot. So that's what's to come. 25 away from an Alley beer bong, and then 4 away from me jerking a beer out of the lunch pail. It's Thirsty Thursday. That's 4 segments in the can. We've had a few thousand people already watch the show today, and now we get to hang out with everybody. So it's up to you. You want to keep this party moving? You want to keep this train going? Let's do it. Josh Fever is in the house. Amani Bentley, Calvin, Mark, Flipping the Bird 85, and Anthony James, our most recent commenters. Where's everybody else at? You see us here, 496. I'm just going to start getting this beer ready for this lunch pail because somebody has to get us there, right?
So we've smoked the Giants channel.
Yes.
I'm gonna go ahead and switch this graphic up, Chase.
Cool.
We're gonna go a countdown to an Alley beer bong.
Okay.
Sound good?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Let your boy get in the kitchen real quick.
Get in the kitchen.
Let your boy cook. Oh well, he doesn't.
Lion fighter.
He just did it.
Trace
Fuck
can't
it.
even speak.
Fuck it.
Anthony James with the 20. That's it. That's
That's
25.
25. We're good. We're fucking good.
Anthony James. Anthony James. Anthony James. LFX. 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 Byron.
Byron.
Byron. Byron. Byron. Byron. Let's go.
Right.
So Flipping the Bird 85. Where can I purchase that Real John shirt? Oh,
I'm going to pull it up.
We got it. I'm putting the link in the chat here.
So we're currently sitting at $526. We can get to $550, so another 25. I'll hop in on this chug as well. Because I'm thirsty too. Trizzy wants a drink as well.
Flipping the Bird 85. There's a Real John shirt. Just tagged you in the chat. And yes, I will fill up the lunch pail with this beer. Thanks everybody for supporting the show today. You've been a part of history here on Eagles Now, the best month in the history of this channel. I took over right before the season last year. It's been awesome to grow this channel. We were at 30,000 subs at the start of last year. We're almost at 50,000 now, and this is a blast for a kid who grew up in the Philly area. All right, here we go.
Chug, 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 chug. Nice. So we did skip over Flipping the Bird's question.
Flipping the Bird, or Lion Fighter, you mean?
Lion Fighter, my bad.
What do you think of the Chiefs' schedule? Seems super soft. They don't play a real threat until they play us. Let me pull it up here. I'll pull it up here. Because I'm interested as well. I don't know. LFX. I wonder what the over-under is for Lions-Chiefs week 1. Like, it would surprise me if there's 80 combined points scored in that game. I think the Lions could win the NFC North. Now, beating the Chiefs week 1 is tough because you know Andy Reid is going to be in his bag. By the way, that game is a week from today, but that's a difficult game. Jaguars week 2, the Jaguars put up a fight against KC. I know Mahomes got hurt in that game, but still, that's week 2. Chicago Bears, everybody is just like salivating over Justin Fields. I think they don't realize that he completed 60% of his passes last year. And in the preseason finale, he was throwing duds. That's the week 3 game. Week 4 against the Jets, Aaron Rodgers in New York, that game on the road. After that, Vikings, Broncos, Chargers, Broncos, Dolphins, then Eagles. LFX, I love you, Brody, but I might disagree with you. There are some losable games on that schedule for KC, especially if they don't have Chris Jones. He might sit out the first 8 weeks. After that, Raiders, Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals, Chiefs, or Chargers. So I think it's a pretty good schedule for the defending Super Bowl champions. I think it's pretty solid. Lamont, a $10 super chat. Let's go. So who do I need to put on the lunch pail here?
Anthony for sure.
Anthony?
Dude,
what is it? A what?
Anthony James, AJ.
AJ.
You got Paul on there.
I got Paul.
You got Byron.
Got Byron.
You got Lamont.
Yep.
All right,
That we're all caught up?
We're caught up.
Bet.
Did we get Flipping the Bird on there as well?
Yep.
Okay.
FTB is on here.
Adrian Harris.
Who?
Adrian Harris.
No, AH.
What about Donald Semedi? First time super chat.
DS is on
DS.
there. Yep.
Marty McFly.
Yep. I got all those.
Yep, we're on there, baby.
All right, awesome.
We're on there like
gold stickers handed out to everybody who sends in a super chat on the show today. And Allie, the people are asking for it. If you want to come on to do your beer bong, I know your family's looking for you to do a little bit of a better job than you did on the Raiders report. So now's your opportunity. So Allie Barefoot just
Everyone
started this week here at Chat Sports. Everybody spam foot. Spam foot in the chat. Allie Barefoot is here. We'll throw her Twitter link in the chat as well. I can find that, Trace. I'm already on it. So let's see. Oh, wow. Dave Portnoy went on with Tucker Carlson. I will be watching that later.
Tucker Carlson.
Give Allie a follow. Her Twitter link is in the chat right now if you want to show her some love on social media. And so the thing about this, make sure it doesn't tip out of the top to go on your head because it's a little bit difficult. So just be careful about the tilt. But we got that 75. Everybody type foot in the chat. Foot. Let's go. Good stuff. You're good. Just let it go. All good. Allie Barefoot for the win right there.
Atta girl.
Let's go.
Atta girl. Byron typing foot. Anthony, Samuel, Nick Stone,
Josh.
Rashawn, Josh, Ernesto, all showing some love.
See, Josh said W for that flamingo.
That's
I
a
agree.
big dub.
I
Big
agree.
dub right there.
Good stuff.
Big
Good
dub.
stuff. Flipping the bird. I just bought 2 Real John shirts. One Kelly Green, one black. Let's go foot. He said, let's go foot. 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 Let's go foot.
Okay, speaking of foot, Chase, $100 super chat, I'm doing a shoey.
Okay.
$100 super chat, I'm doing a shoey.
Did you hear that from the man? Trace, $100 super chat. He's drinking a beer out of his shoe. That's what he's doing. That's what he's pitching to the people. Millie315, what up, Bird Gang? Millie, what was your question that you had on yesterday's show? I know I hit the thumbs up icon and hearted it, but I was on my way into work, I believe, at the time, or I was busy, and I just wanted to show you some love for commenting. But you had a good question that I meant to answer at some point. Let me know in the chat if you have that question. Anthony James, my first 2 donations, yes. AJ, 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 AJ. All right, so we're going to sign off here in a bit. We do need Chip's beer boot.
Chip.
Where is Chip?
Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Where's Chip? Where's Chip?
Hey, now, Chip.
Where's Chip? You messaging him?
Yeah.
He owes us that beer boot.
I literally just typed out.
Shooey! 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 Let's go! Flipping the bird! Flipping the bird! Flipping the bird! Flipping the bird! Flipping the bird!
Let's frickin' go!
A $100 super chat! I get so excited. My voice cracks like a pubescent boy. Shuey Trizzy Trace. Woo! 2 claps into Ric Flair. Woo! All right. Trace, a shoey's coming up. Robert Bromley's like, okay, I see what y'all are doing. Josh Fever, next level thinking. He said, Chips at UCLA. That's a good one right there. Flipping the bird. Are you kidding me? Our Super Chat MVP today and the newest member of the Bird's Nest Hall of Fame. That brings us up to $636 in Super Chats. You gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Lamont, you guys are crazy. I love this show. I mean, let me be humble, but also ask you a real question. Who's gonna do 4 segments talking birds today, but also celebrate like this on a Thirsty Thursday? There is not another Eagles YouTube channel that's doing this. So to everybody out there supporting the show, ring the Liberty Bell. Let's get it. This is incredible. What a community we have. This is awesome. See, you got to balance the analysis and the fun. But the fun is fun. The analysis, I believe, we put a lot of work in. It's very good as well. So, exactly. As Trey said, you got to balance the bull and the shit. That's your Truth Texas saying from a Texan right here. Are we crazy, like Lamont said? If that's the case, type yes. Millie, so he had a question about game day elevations. So you can activate, Millie, anybody up to the active roster, but you can only have 47 players who can be suited up. That might be 48 now because of the new QB3 rule, which does not account towards boot time, Chip, towards the active game day roster because of what happened actually in the NFC Championship game. So, Philly Sports Hustle, we need a damn punter. Siposs isn't it? I totally agree. A chipper beer boot is coming up, and here's this shoey. It is a shoe.
I put a bag in it.
It's a new shoe.
I have to walk home. I do walk home.
It's a new shoe. Another 100, I'll do an actual beer out of my actual shoe. Got to be an animal sometimes. All right. Triz. Go Birds!
It was literal ice in that. Oh my God.
It's a cold beer.
That's an ice cold beer.
That's an ice cold beer.
Ice cold beverage.
Trizzy, real one. Flipping the bird, real one. Flipping the bird said, woo! Like Bryce Harper after he hit his 300th. Woo! All right, Chipper's getting that beer boot ready, and then we'll sign off. Last call for alcohol and super chats. Flipping the bird. We love you back, Brody. We love you back. Lamont said,
Flipping
no,
the bird. We love you
don't
harder.
go.
Hey, if we
Yeah.
get to 700, I'm doing a beer bong in less than 3 seconds. Swear. Tell me I won't do it, Chip. Tell me I won't freaking do it, Chip.
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 Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Chip. Oh, we're ready. The people are ready. Everybody, type Chip.
Come on now, Chip.
Come on now, Chip.
Come on, Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Come on, Chip.
Hey, Chip.
Hey, flipping the bird. Let's go.
Flipping the bird
Let's see
said,
it.
don't tempt me. I told
I'm
you another
tempting you.
100.
I'm
I'm
tempting
drinking
you.
a beer out of my shoe.
Or tempting you. Come on.
Let's go.
Hey, 200
Let's go.
Chips put one in his shoe, too.
Chip. 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 E-A-G-L-E-S Eagles!
Shout out, Chip. Come on now, Chip.
Chip, you're an animal
Come
from
on,
Millie 315.
Come on now, Chip. I need a breather after that one. I'm like out of breath.
Unbelievable.
A little bit. We're getting there.
Whew.
This is what we would refer to as off the rails. Yeah, it's Thursday. It's y'all's Friday. It's your Friday.
My Friday.
Yeah,
Flying
so
to Charlotte
honestly,
tomorrow.
some of these super chats do go to the bar tab this weekend
Yes.
too. So if you want to buy Chase a drink, send in a super chat.
Hey, there we go.
Honestly, Chip, you should clip y'all doing the Eagles thing because y'all were perfectly in sync, dude. It is fucking cool.
Finishes the beer,
Dude, it
dude.
is- Dude, you need to clip that. That's tight.
That's legendary. Tag me. Millie 315, best job ever. It's hard to dispute that.
Impossible.
See, I'm wondering, is flipping the bird kind of lurking in the grass, like a
think
little
he's
tiger in the
sneaky
tall
deaky.
grass looking for his prey? Or like an eagle looking after its prey?
Gonna swoop
It's like-
in.
Shoo!
Just
Got him.
Yum. Right in.
We know eagles operate like that.
Swoop up to prey like A.J. Brown swoops up at defenders' ankles.
Oh, man. 2 minute super chat shot clock. If any super chats come in within 2
I can
minutes,
pop one up. I can pop one up.
we'll stay alive. You're going to pop that
I
clock
got
up?
it. I got it. I'll pop up that clock.
Jalen Reagor signing with the Patriots practice squad. The Patriots play the Eagles in week 1, and Reagor will be a candidate to be promoted for the game.
Let's go.
How about that? That's coming in just now from Adam Schefter.
We're going to give you guys an extra 10 seconds because I don't feel like fixing it.
Yeah,
So,
super chat shot clock.
flipping the bird.
You send in a super within 2 minutes, it keeps us live. If not, we sign off and we call it a hell of a day.
I'm going to give flipping the bird an L3 too. I'm going to give him a graphic real quick.
Flipping the
Give me 1
bird,
sec.
super chat
I'm
MVP.
just going to go today's MVP.
There's a reason the man won a Brian Dawkins signed helmet last year.
He's got great luck and even better.
Millie, it
Even
is.
better
Yesterday on the Niners Report, we did do 760 in
Yes.
supers.
Yes.
So it does get crazy. It does
If we
get
beat
crazy.
the 49ers report, that means we also beat the Michigan football report.
Philly Sports Hustle, y'all need merchandise.
We have a shirt.
We have merchandise.
We have a shirt. Y'all want us to pop it up?
We have merch.
You can get a black shirt.
Get
It's
yourself a
John.
Real John shirt. Chatsports.com/RealJohn.
We also got Kelly Green, baby.
And for us to wear, we do on game days especially. Definitely wear some Eagles gear for sure, whether it be a jersey or a shirt or any type of garb.
Whether it's a hat, whether it's a foam head.
Flipping the Bird said, apparently I can't send in 100. That might be because you reached your limit.
We have Venmo.
Do you have Venmo?
We got Venmo.
40 seconds left on the Super Chat shot clock. But, Philly Sports Hustle. Like, I do a bunch of content here. So, like, when I come to work in a shirt, sometimes it's just what I'm rocking. I cover NBA, NFL, college football, Major League Baseball. So every day is a little bit different.
I'm doing
Amazon Alexa coverage.
I'm doing for college football tonight. Wearing a polo with a bunch of footballs on it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Utah, Florida. I'm looking forward to that game.
Are you watching the game anywhere tonight? You packing?
I got packed for sure, so I might just do that. But I'll be watching the game, no doubt.
Be a good one.
Philly Sports Hustle. I like the real John Kelly green. Nice. We like it too, bro. We like it too. All right. Super Chat shot clock Dunzo. I think we're about to peace out. What an awesome Thursday show, man. Absolutely awesome. Once the regular season is here, I think we're going to go Tuesday live for sure. Maybe Tuesday, Thursday, we'll see. Obviously, with the success of the channel, we want to continue to grow it as much as possible. So just keep an eye out for that. That's why you subscribe, turn on your notifications. Therefore, whenever we do go live, whenever we push out a video, you will obviously be notified. Daily shows on the Eagles, analysis, news, breakdowns. We do it all. And we are approaching 50,000 subscribers. And when we get to 50,000, we're going to do some type of special wild live show. We're going to find some way to celebrate that achievement because among all YouTubers out there, 50,000 subscribers is certainly special. So keep that in mind. And as we move forward, we'll continue to grow, even past 50,000 subscribers. I would love to come visit you, Johns, at your studio. That's something that I would like to do for some of the real ones, Flipping the Bird. If you're ever in Dallas, we can get you in here, Flipping the Bird 85. If you're ever in Dallas, just hit me up. I know that we've interacted plenty on Facebook and stuff. So if you're ever in the Dallas area, just hit me up. We'll get you in here for sure. Today's MVP. Speaking of Flipping the Bird 85, you see the graphic down below me. He sent in a 250 and a 100. That's a new member of the Bird's Nest Hall of Fame right there. All right, we are out today. An absolute blast. You were all part of history. In the history of this channel, there's never been a better month. Even in January, when the Eagles won all those playoff games, made it to the Super Bowl, not a successful month like this one. So y'all were a part of history. I can't tell you how grateful I am. As I always say, we're not worthy, but we appreciate the support so much. Keep it locked here for Eagles content every single day. I'm going to Charlotte this weekend to watch UNC South Carolina with a couple of homies here at Chat Sports. But videos will keep coming, so appreciate the support. We'll catch you next time. Peace.